it was a huge impact on property managers to get all these new regulations, legislations. It keeps changing all the time. We have to stay on top of it. We have to stay updated. So obviously everybody was a little bit taken aback of it. How are we going to do it? How are we going to deal with it? So a lot of panic initially. And then I think the main thing is for the real estate agencies and property managers to really understand this is now your part of the job. This is what you need to do as a part of your job. And once they understand that, I think half of the battle is won, because they can start planning and doing things the way they need to do it. Of course, our software helps them to plan and understand what they need to do, but the avoidance of doing compliance altogether or trying to figure out who can I give it to not to deal with it myself, that's probably something that it's not going to go away. It's going to stay there, and it's probably going to be bigger and bigger.
Welcome back to another episode of the Property Management Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Now, this episode is a real pain point for a lot of property managers, especially in Victoria. Compliance. It's the word that's keeping property managers up at night, and business owners as well. The endless paperwork, ever-changing regulations, and the fear of getting it wrong. It's no wonder so many professionals in our industry are feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, and even leaving the game entirely. And it's not just property managers. In Victoria, rental providers are packing up and selling off their investment properties because the burden has just become too much. But what if there was a better way? What if compliance didn't have to feel like you were drowning in never-ending red tape? Well, today I'm joined by two incredible guests, Petr and Martina Tichy, the founders of Properteasy, a software company that's taking the stress out of compliance and giving property managers back their time and sanity. Their journey is inspiring. They arrived in Australia from the Czech Republic with just $200 to their name, determined to learn English and build a new future, far away from the life that they'd grown up with, their family and their friends. Fast forward, and now they're helping transform the property management industry with a solution built by a property manager for property managers. Martina herself has been in the trenches for decades, so she knows the struggles firsthand. In this episode, we're diving into the real struggles that compliance poses in property management, why so many professionals have left the industry because of it, and how these challenges are impacting rental providers as well. We'll explore the ways technology can simplify compliance, reduce stress, and free up time for property managers to focus on what really matters. Petr and Martina will also share their incredible journey from arriving in Australia with almost nothing to creating a powerful solution that's changing the game for property managers everywhere. If you've ever felt buried under compliance demands, then this episode is for you. Let's talk solutions. Let's talk sanity-saving strategies and the future of property management. So buckle up. I think you're going to love this episode. Petr and Martina, thank you so much for joining me on the Property Management Podcast. Now, I want you guys to share your story with me because we haven't got to that part yet, where two people from the Czech Republic land in Australia and start a tech software company. How does that work? Tell me your story.
So yeah, it is a long story, but if we rewind all the way back when we boarded the first flight to Vienna, the first reason why we came to Australia was to learn English. My first job in Czech Republic was to play football, so I was a soccer player for 8 years, and in my mid-20s, I knew I'm not good enough to make it as a full-time professional at the top leagues anywhere in Europe, so I decided to pack the bags and go overseas and learn English. And Martina was my girlfriend that time, and so she sort of jumped on board with me. But the main thing, as I said, why we came to Australia was purely just to learn English, just to stand up on our own feet and maybe return back to Czech and get a decent job somewhere in hospitality or anything to do where we could use the English. So that was the first motivation. And how we got from there It was just extending the visa as a student for a bit, for a few years. And eventually we got a part-time job, full-time job, and it sort of snowballed after that. Then we got a first kid, second kid, and we ended up here. Now it's 20 years later. And yes, we're starting the software as a service for our own company. But yeah, as I said, the first intention was just come here for 3 months, learn English, or not to come here just for 3 months. So we said, we're not going to go back until we can speak English. And that's exactly what we
Looks
did.
like we're still not good in it. So
Yes. And just
excuse to stay in Australia, I think.
yeah.
And just to add to it, it was Martina's first flight, so we didn't even know how she's gonna handle a flight in general, because some people could get sick on the flights. And yeah, she was brave enough just to get on the board. And yeah, fly all the way here. Of course, at the start it was a struggle with if you can't speak the language, it's very hard to get a decent job. So we just got any jobs we wanted or we could. And so we went through kitchen hands and cleaners and babysitters and all that. And eventually we started stand on our own feet. And my first, after I learned English, started to learn multimedia. So I was always in computers. When I didn't play football, I was always tinkering with computers and mainly the internet, how it's all hanging together, how our websites put together and so on. So that was my passion, always football and the digital world. And eventually I started contracting, building software or building initial websites for marketing agencies and small businesses. Then I started freelancing for myself, contracting for big projects. And the last one I worked on before starting Properteasy was the Coles online shopping platform that we built, of course, with a massive team of very smart people. And so, but I had always the itch to build something for someone who I like or who I know they're going to use it. It's going to change their life or help their workflow. And so that's when Properteasy came in, and we started sort of talking to Martina, what's missing in her work and some frustrations. And yet the compliance side of things was clearly the thing that we tried to resolve. And that's where it started to shape up as a product, what it is today. So I'll hand over to Martina, her story, how she enjoyed the flight with me and the journey until now.
To be honest, I can't even remember what happened. Peter just told me, pick up your bags and jump on the flight, and we ended up in Melbourne. So yeah, definitely it was quite challenging journey, and it is still challenging every day. A new adventure that we are having, but it's definitely something that taught us a lot. We now are decent in English speaking, and we've got good network of friends and work colleagues and people around us. So we do feel like Australia is our home now, and I've got 2 kids who've been brought up here, born in Australia. So yeah, we've really enjoyed living here now. As to how I ended up in property management, probably to start with, I thought about it quite a bit, and I think the initial kick was when we were renting through an agency 10 years, 15 years ago, and I didn't have the best experience with my property manager. And I was always thinking, this job can be done better. I'm sure it can. And because my kids were little and they were about to start school, and I thought, what am I going to do with myself? So that was the first thought. Maybe I could try this, see how I go. And I fell in love with the job and been doing it ever since.
That's amazing. Not many people can say that they still love the job after the amount of time that you have. So that is impressive. Maybe because I think people forget sometimes that there is some great aspects to property management. We focus a lot on the negatives, and we certainly have in the last few years post-COVID. It's been a lot of negative talk. Maybe just share what you love about the job and why you keep showing up, doing the job that you do.
So I love, firstly, it's probably very important to have a really great company to work for. So I work for Gary Peer in St Kilda, and I have to say that we've got such an amazing team of people working together, and we help each other. We hold each other's back and carry the weight of, what needs to be done each day. People are putting hands up when, things are not going that great, and trying to help each other. So that's one of the first thing I would say, have a good company to work for, good people around. That's important. What I love about the job itself is to help people. I'm a service person. I like to help, gives me great pleasure if somebody's happy. So I think that is the main thing, having conversations with people, understand what they're going through, renters, clients, trying to help them, with that one thing that they're trying to build, the clients, that's their asset, the most important thing that they have. So trying to make it as easy as possible for them, and when they're having tenants in, looking after as well as the renters, as well as the owners equally. And yeah, just having a good pleasure out of what I'm doing.
That's amazing. Let's talk about compliance now, because Properteasy has evolved from a real pain point in property management, especially in Victoria. And you just have to look at the online chats, everyone, and mainly like legislation happening across Australia changes, but it seems to be Victoria's been hit the hardest. But everyone's struggling, everyone's complaining, people are wanting to quit, people are wanting to leave the industry because of the compliance. And I guess a lot of the feedback even that I've had with conversations with property managers and business owners is how can they meet the compliance requirements on top of their already massive workloads. So maybe let's talk about how that's affecting the industry, that extra burden of now the compliance, and how you guys come up with a solution to help property managers.
Okay, so I'll probably take over here for a bit. So these compliance regulations are, of course, burden on the property owners, and they leaving because they can't hold the properties. So that's one thing. So people selling, selling
owners are leaving as well.
Yes, they're leaving the industry, which means, of course, that's why they can't hold the properties. And when it comes to the property management side of things, it was through on these agencies to deal with it, and of course, then there was suppliers that they tried to help with it, and they might spin up their own software, but the poor property managers were then ended up logging to multiple platforms to deal with multiple suppliers. And so at the end of the day, they are the ones doing this work, and they are the ones overwhelmed by all the admin stuff they need to do. So especially big agency, they never have all properties with just one supplier. So what we try to build is the software that is on the side of the agency, in the hands of the property manager, and they manage the compliance in a very simple way, just from one platform, regardless whether they work with 1, 2, or 5 providers, and they can change providers anytime they want. So that was the main thing, because Martina's agencies and a lot of agencies that are our clients now, they had spreadsheets on the sides, they had the reminders in their CRMs. And so it's, again, scattered across multiple platforms for the property managers. And of course, they feel like this is extra work that still needs to be done because it's important for the business, for the safety of the renters and the investments of the property owners. So it's important, someone needs to do it. And so we try to have one platform where they're managing in a very simple way. You just go in and out when you need the dates or certificates, or when you need to file it away against property. So we are not software where you spend a lot of time. And if you spend there a lot of time, we're not doing the right thing. So it's in and out when you need stuff or when you need to file things away.
Yeah. Just to jump in with the first sort of bit of question you had there, it was a huge impact on property managers to get all these new regulations, legislations. It keeps changing all the time. We have to stay on top of it. We have to stay updated. So obviously everybody was a little bit taken aback of it. How are we going to do it? How are we going to deal with it? So a lot of panic initially. And then I think the main thing is for the real estate agencies and property managers to really understand this is now your part of the job. This is what you need to do as a part of your job. And once they understand that, I think half of the battle is won, because they can start planning and doing things the way they need to do it. Of course, our software helps them to plan and understand what they need to do, but the avoidance of doing compliance altogether or trying to figure out who can I give it to not to deal with it myself, that's probably something that it's not going to go away. It's going to stay there, and it's probably going to be bigger and bigger. So understanding, yes, now I'm not just doing routine inspections, renewals, getting arrears. Now I'm doing compliance as well. So I think that understanding is crucial.
Yeah, I've actually heard some agencies have actually brought in created a new role in their agencies
Yeah.
for a compliance manager, or they're giving some of it to their offshore teams if they've got offshore teams.
Yeah.
Or they're remote professionals. But the wages are already so high in this industry. Profitability is going down.
Yeah.
It's a huge extra burden and expense for businesses. So,
Yes, and
yeah.
So when you mentioned that some agencies and some of our clients have the coordinated compliance manager that manages it for the whole agency, all the property managers, and that's the benefit of having centralized place. So this compliance manager still just works in Properteasy and can send work orders through their CRM like normally. And so our software works with whether the managers do it themselves or whether they have one compliance manager overseeing the whole thing. And the main benefit of it is also that the property managers still need to have access to these dates, quick access to it. So everyone who is in the CRM is also in our system. So when they need these dates for their owners or for their tenants, they can simply log in, get the PDFs or certificates and dates out. And so they still need to know where to go and get it. And if there is one place where they get it, regardless of which property it is, then again, they're saving time instead of searching through multiple different dashboards and services.
And having the compliance done is actually a great benefit for the owner and for the company, because when you think about it, you actually understand what your product is like. You understand what you're holding, where your wealth is. And if you've got these checks done, and if you know that your property is safe and sound, and it's secured for the renters, that means that you're probably going to get better quality of renters coming through. You're going to have a much more higher income. And that means that for the rent roll, for the owner of the rent roll, that, that's a value added. So it's actually, people need to realize compliance is a good thing. Yes, it's a lot of work, but with a good software and good procedure, you can manage it really well, quickly and easily. And it's a benefit to the company, to the owners and to the tenants as well.
And what Martina touched on is, I compare it to a service book. When you sell a car and you give the buyer a service book of regular service, and then he's more likely, oh, I'm going to get this car. I don't need to go run it past my tradie to review everything. So sort of like a due diligence. If you show someone in a straightforward format reports of all the dates that you keep track of, the value of the rent roll is much higher than if you throw in 5 spreadsheets and logins to different places to go and get it. Or it would take you then weeks to come up with some report that makes sense. So again, that's another benefit, that for the rent roll, for the proof of how healthy the rent roll is, you need some centralized one place where you get the data quickly.
That is absolutely correct. And I've just gone through a rent roll sale process, and I had things on spreadsheets or just saved in Property Me and our software. And it was a bit of a nightmare collating all that data.
Okay. And how much time and money it would cost you to get that due diligence done, to actually be able to understand what you're selling and how much you can ask for it.
Absolutely. So I guess I'm going to play the devil's advocate a little bit here. If I was a property manager or a business owner sitting here and I'm already thinking that I'm paying all this money for software and tech stacks, why would somebody want to add Properteasy into that tech stack? And now I already know the answer to that, because obviously, all the things that you've already said, increasing your value, saving your property manager's time. But the biggest thing, I think, and this is something that I am going through at the moment as well, I have been sued by a supplier, and I'm going through that at the moment. Litigation is increasing. It's huge. So I see the value of Properteasy from that standpoint alone, that you are going to protect your business and your property owner from litigation.
Yes.
Are you feeling overwhelmed and thinking about selling your rent roll? Don't worry, you're not alone, and HDNU is here to help. Whether you're ready to sell now or you just want to plan for the future, the friendly and approachable team at HDNU makes the process simple and stress-free. free. Hello, yes please. With over 30 years of expertise, they're not just about crunching the numbers. They genuinely care about helping you maximize your agency's value and get the best outcome for you. Their sales readiness bundle is like having a trusted advisor by your side. They'll work closely with you to assess your agency's key factors, create an easy to understand heat map of your strengths and opportunities, and then sit down with you for a 90-minute workshop to guide you on what to do next. They'll look at everything from rent roll earnings and rent arrears to compliance and team performance and explain it all in plain English. If you're planning to sell soon, HD&U can even handle the whole process for you, from finding qualified buyers to negotiating the deal. Their friendly, professional team takes the stress out of selling so you can feel confident every step of the way. And to get started, simply book in a meeting with the team today. Their link is in the show notes. They're here to help you move forward with confidence. If you're ready to be a super organised, focused and productive property manager, buckle up, because Colmio is about to revolutionise the way that you work. Colmio is the driving force behind property management excellence in residential real estate. Now picture this, a comprehensive end-to-end system designed to be the beating heart of your property management tasks, manage your properties, owners and tenants, and handle payments, inspections, and even marketing listings without leaving the platform. Colmio is designed to be an all-in-one solution to all your property management needs. And here's the game changer. Colmio isn't just software. It's been awarded the most innovative PropTech Scale Up in 2023. Yes, you heard it right. Colmio has been recognised for their groundbreaking approach to property management software. How good is that? So property managers, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, dive into the future of property management with Colmio. You can book in a demo with the team today and go in their weekly draw for a Prezi gift card worth $100. All you need to do is to head to the link colmio.com/thatpropertymum, and Colmio is KOLMEO.
And you're right, it's a cost. Yes, we know the free charity software, so it is a paid service. And the question I ask, what is the cost of not paying for it? What is the cost that you are wasting on people searching through different places? So the time investment of getting stuff out, and when something is more important, let's say, Martina, I had one story where the landlord or rent provider called her that he's selling the property. She needs the certificates right now, like within half a day. And Martina didn't have the clear answer, had to wait for someone else to be in the office on Monday to give her proper direction where it is. And so the managers or the agencies don't provide the best service for their clients. And so again, you provide better service and you saving your company time, and time is money. So yes, it is an investment from that side, but you will see the benefit in the long run by saving time across the business.
For me, on a daily basis, I can see in past 12 months that I've been running with Properteasy, having information in and knowing what I'm doing, I can see how much more relaxed I am about compliance. And did I find things that I wasn't aware when I was going through my audit to put the information in? I did find them, but then That's a
good thing though.
It was a good thing. Exactly. I knew what's going on and I could action it really quickly. I had no owners questioning me over how come I didn't know about it. They were very grateful that I actually found those things now and we can deal with them. So it's something where you, as a property manager, we've got so many things to do. We're multitasking all the time. We're jumping from one thing to another. And we can only do it if we've got good database of places and things, what we need to do, to-do list, whatever works for people. But you need to have a clear understanding what you need to do. With rental inspections, we know what inspections we're going to run because we've got a list of those inspections. If I've got areas to deal with, I've got a list of areas. I know what I'm doing. Same for compliance. I need to have a list of what compliance I need to deal with on a daily basis. And that gives me a calmness because I can see that clearly. And I can also see how well I'm doing with compliance because, 98% of portfolio is now perfect. So I can go and talk to the owners about compliance. I can see every detail. I know everything about everything. So it's actually really good feeling to have. And as a property managers, we are a little bit of control freaks. So, that's why I love my job because I feel like I'm top of everything and I can deal with anything that comes in my way.
Amazing. And you guys now integrate with Property Me as well. So that you don't have to be transferring documents and that sort of stuff. It all just kind of flows. Is that how it works?
Yes. So we recently, just before the end of the year, integrated with Property Me. So all the new business that you add to Property Me would directly be synced with our system. If you archive properties, if you lose the business, then it's archived in our system as well. We also bringing all your users. So when you give access in Properteasy to someone, they only need to create password on the first login. And then we also creating jobs. So when something's about to expire, smoke alarm, let's say, you can just quickly fire off a job order through Property Me. And the one thing which we didn't touch is the privacy of the owners and tenants is because, we don't import any of this data. So we only importing the list of suppliers that the agency wants to be giving these jobs to, which means that we're protecting the privacy of landlords and tenants. And only when the job is assigned to the different suppliers, then it goes through Property Me and it pulls the current tenancy in and sends the work order with the right details. So you don't spilling all your databases across different platforms. As I said, we don't take anything, only the list of suppliers that you in control, and you can add or remove suppliers anytime you want. So that's another benefit of just keeping the database of contacts in one place. And with the CRM integration with Property Me, it just stays in Property Me.
It's amazing.
And we can also now send work orders through Properteasy, which gets sent through Property Me. So when the trade gets a work order, it's exactly same template, same format as they're getting for any other work orders through Property Me. Nothing changes in the property manager's workflow. It's very simple, and we then can have a record of every single work order that we've sent, and that sits with Property Me as well. So many times we do have issue with finding out what work order we've sent to whom, especially when we're dealing with those third parties platforms where you need to log in and find your certificates and send a work order request through them, which is probably working for these suppliers. But when it comes to us, once we've sent the work order through that platform, we've got no record of it. And so it's then, over the time you forget, or you just have to make some notes on the system to remind you that this is still out there, needed to be done. But for just to have those records for the simplicity, I think it's a great thing that we've got in that software, and it works like a charm. So really love it.
Let me ask you this. Are you sleeping easier at night time since you've been using Properteasy?
She is. I am not, because I have to do the work in the background.
Look, it's been really tough. You said that at the start. The COVID-19, threw everything off the charts, and it's what we've gone through as a property managers during that time. You could never imagine. It was very tough. And it's more tough was the fact that we needed to have answers that we didn't have. There was a lot of conversations with the rental providers and with the renters, not specifically about the job itself or the work that we need to do. There was conversations about how people felt and how it's affecting everybody, and the burden, the hardship that they were going through. So I think we've learned to be more resilient, to be more compassionate and empathetic towards the others from the COVID-19. But we also learned that we can do things easier. We can work from home. We can utilize the softwares that we've got, the internet and everything, and things can be done. And with that, we just have to we have to work smarter, not harder. And I feel like this is that mindset a lot of people still have. I'll just keep doing it the old way because it somehow works. But, there are better ways and there are more innovative ways. And people might have to put a little bit of effort to start with, especially with us, with Properteasy. But once you're on it and once you're up to date, it's just a smooth ride, and, the benefits are there.
Absolutely. I've had a demo. I think it's going to give a lot of property managers and business owners real, genuine peace of mind that and the other thing I liked is that, like, the minimum housing standards, that's massive. Like, keeping track of that every time you do a routine inspection, because things change. Tenants take down
blinds,
smoke alarms,
yes,
or blinds,
smoke alarms.
Or don't report these things to you. So talk to me how you help with the minimum housing standards as well.
So we have a section that clearly shows you the different compliances we manage: the gas, electrical, smoke alarm, pool. We've also added landlord insurance tracking, and another section is the minimum standards checklist that is currently it's based on the Victorian regulations, all 14 categories. So we've got a clear checklist that has detailed questions that the manager can answer anytime they're on the site. In the property, they can quickly just check it. And it's more for internal audit of the agency. It's not that the property managers are professionals to be able to say anything about the soundness of the building, but they can quickly check some of these items. And if something is not compliant or they're not sure, they can easily have a quick filter: show me all properties that don't have a heater in the main living area, or they have some sort of mold issues. And then you can have internal meetings with your directors and the business owners. How are we going to deal with these properties? So if you don't have it in centralized, you probably have some sort of spreadsheet or other ways to manage it scattered across multiple things. So again, we're keeping it in one place. So then you only look up the property once and you see all the compliance in one place, all the minimum standards, and you can identify the risky properties that the business should look at and how they're going to deal with it.
Yeah, I love it. I think you guys have really thought this through. And I think I was thinking about it the other day it's a property management software made by a property manager, really. It's really well thought out about the pain points and the struggles that the property managers and business owners and property owners, rental providers are all experiencing. So I think you've done a great job with that. So
thank you. It's definitely there to help property managers. And when you think about it, we do have quite a bit of turnaround in the industry. And if you do have a software that holds all your information, you don't have to be worried about who's sitting currently on the portfolio, whether if it's a temp because you've got people on holidays, or whether it's somebody who've left because of change of career and we've got a new person starting. If you can give them a software that gives them all the information about the compliance of that property plus the minimum standards, and they starting with this, I think that's an absolute gold, because they understanding what the property is like and what they need to be aware from very beginning. They don't have to go and look for information. They don't have to chase and, think who knows what this property is like. Everything is in there. And I think that's, one of the things that I really like about it, that even if I'm not managing a property, I can see what the property is like and I can give information to the owner or to the renter or whoever needs that information with no hesitations and instantly, which I think it's great.
Yeah, you've definitely hit the nail on the head there. That's a real struggle for businesses, that constant turnover. Now, I love personal development. Can you guys share a tool, resource, book or podcast that you think might help our audience?
Yes, I've got one. It's a business book but I'm also about life, and it's Who Moved My Cheese?
Yes, I've heard that one. I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Not sure if you've read it or heard about it.
No, I haven't read it.
It's probably, it says it's 1 hour read. It took me probably 2 hours because of my English, but it is just a lesson for life that people should not attach to one thing or one path. They should always be expecting a change, and when you expecting the change is then not as a big deal. And when you see now AI coming into the workforce and any industry and other software popping up, people should embrace the change because it's here to help them do the work quicker, more efficient. And yeah, I just mentioned the word AI because
Yep, that's a
I'm a
big
software
change.
engineer. I'm a software engineer, and it definitely changed the way software is built over the last couple of years. Soon it will come to the property management side of things and change the way you manage a lot of tasks within the admin and software. And so people should embrace it, should sort of more look ahead and lean into it instead of rejecting it and do it in their spreadsheet constantly. I think they will be better prepared for the change when it's really here. And yeah, as I said, it's 30, 40 years ago when internet started, everyone was just posting postcards instead of emails. Now it's a normal part of life. Before then, computers, when they came, people said, no, I'm going to type it on my machine instead of computer. So it's here, it's a change, and we just have to all adjust. So this book just sort of puts it all in short lessons of why you should be prepared for the change, embrace it, and you'll be happier in life.
That's a great.
My book that I'm currently reading, and I've already listened to it twice as an audio book, but I really love it. It's called Start With Why, and the author is Simon Sinek, and I really love his stuff. I think he's a very genuine person, and he does want to bring the best out of people and in people. And he talks about communication and leadership, and just to understand what's your purpose, why you're doing things, gives you a great ability to really do them well and help others.
Yep, absolutely. I've read that book. I do love it as well. Thank you so much for sharing that with our audience. And I just was going to say, Peter, I finished university and I went to Hong Kong in the early 90s. And I was working for a accounting firm, and I had to pitch, and I was sending faxes back home to my parents and postcards. But I had to pitch to the CEO of our company why we needed to have the World Wide Web.
Okay.
Yeah. It was incredible. So I actually remember having that conversation. And then if you look back to that, how far technology and software and everything has come. And I've read stuff around, the future of AI, and I don't know if I want to go down that path. I'm not ready for some of that yet. But yeah, you're 100% right. The world is changing faster than it ever has in history. Yeah. We've got to get on board, or we're going to get left behind as business owners. And I do get it. It is scary. Change is scary for everybody. And I think back to even COVID, a lot of businesses still didn't have electronic signature platforms in place pre-COVID. People were still handwriting stuff. And I think the sales went through the roof during COVID for the electronic signature platforms from businesses because they have no choice.
Yeah. Yes. And that's what's pushing you. If there is no other option, that's when you are in tide, you start thinking, how can I do things differently? And that's pushing the innovation. That's where the best ideas come out, and people are, pushed to sort of think outside of the box rather than being stuck in. So a hardship is not a nice thing, but it's not necessarily a completely bad thing because it does push you forward and you're forced to start thinking a little bit differently.
Yeah. And I guess that for you guys, that started when you guys left your families and friends and packed your bags, which I did a similar thing. I went to Hong Kong at 21, you get homesick and you question yourself all the time. Why am I here? Why am I doing this?
That's right. Yeah.
And then you learn. Yep.
We've actually, when we came here, we did have literally 2 bags and we had $200 in the pocket, and that was it. And we just flew across the world and we thought, let's see what happens. But yeah, definitely it wasn't, it was challenging. And again, because of that challenge, I think it made us more resilient, and we are different people than we would be if maybe we never left. And, the challenges that we had to go through, the uncomfortable situations that we had to go through taught us something, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Everything that challenges you is a good thing.
Absolutely. And you would not have launched your own software company if you hadn't have probably done that experience.
Probably not.
Had a job in hospitality back in Prague or wherever in the Czech Republic you are from.
Yeah.
So that's great. I think a lot of people will really resonate with that story and your journey. So thank you so much for sharing that. How can our audience connect further with you, or maybe book in for a demo on Properteasy?
So the easiest way is to go to our website, properteasy.com.au, and we'll send you some links if you can put it in the show notes. We're both quite active on Instagram, LinkedIn, so connect with us first. And then if you're interested in the software, we've got a form that you fill in on our site, and we can book the demo with you. Yeah, happy to answer any questions as well. So if anyone has anything to do with their current workflow and they may be not ready to book a demo yet, but they have some compliance related questions, yeah, happy to answer them. So hit me up or Martina. As I said, we'll share some links to our emails as well.
And we also, obviously, a new software, and more users, more people we've got, more feedback we're going to get, the better the software can be. So we're open to listen to what people want, and more than happy to implement changes if that makes sense.
Is that coming from you? And but does that mean less sleepless?
Martina's very old. I have to prioritize and see what would go into the platform. But everything what's in it at the moment, it's built for Martina, her team, her agency, a couple other agencies. So I'm not putting stuff in, or our developers don't put stuff in just because we want to see extra button. We want to keep it as simple as it needs to be. But again, as flexible as it needs to be to manage all the parts of the compliance. So yes, give Martina any ideas and we'll review it and see what makes sense to put in the platform, because we feel that small increments are better than a huge leap forward or huge changes. So everything what's in it, it's small incremental changes, small features that we reviewed exactly the workflow of the property managers. And that's how I think best software is built, is with small incremental changes than some massive revolutionizing way of doing things.
Amazing.
Because at the end of the day, sorry to jump in, at the end of the day, it started as something to help me to do my work, and that it's built based on my needs. But obviously, if more people working with the Properteasy, they will come across things that might be better than how I do them. So that's why I'm saying Peter's more than happy to put that in.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It's been lovely to connect with you both.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank
Thanks
you, Kylie, for having us. Thanks.
Bye.
Can I ask you a quick favour before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.